Across the developing world, NGOs continue to play a central role in service delivery, also policy advocacy, humanitarian responses, climate action, youth empowerment, and community development. Now, the sector is currently undergoing a significant transition, driven, of course, by those shifting global funding patterns, localization agendas, increased accountability demands, climate change, economic instability, as well as governance pressures, and of course social inequalities. Well, this year's World NGO Day, celebrated today, February 27th, it provides a critical moment to reflect on the evolving role of NGOs and of course the need to collaborate for sustainable impact. Well, joining us in the studio to delve further into this is Tuva Adams Tuva. He is the chairman of the Global NGO Stakeholders Summit. Great to have you with us on the show today, Tuva. Now, certainly it's World NGO. Happy World NGO Day to you.
Same to you.
But I wonder if it's a happy time for NGOs, because it certainly hasn't been an easy time for NGOs so far. We know it's been quite tough, changing global dynamics, funding priorities changing across the world, geopolitics. Give us a sense of how NGOs are faring in the face of what could be an existential threat.
Okay. It's been a tough time, It's been a very tough time. Things have changed, Currently, there's a lot of shrinking in terms of funding and all that. So, but it's also a good thing. They say pressure forms diamonds. Things have had to change. You realize that people are a bit more careful now with how they're spending their money. If you looked at the NGO world in the past, what used to happen, the spending just used to, there are different flights, it's first class and all that. But people now are a bit careful. You realize with the squeeze in the funding, people were initially just let go.
Are you saying they were misusing funds before? Is that
I wouldn't say it's misusing, but we weren't being a bit careful with our accounting and accountability.
Right.
So now people are a bit keen are very keen at what they're doing. They're focusing more on the essentials. Sometimes if we don't look at the essentials, then we actually miss the big picture. So ideally, you realize that now we are being a bit more keen. It's not about just, I've done a training for 5,000 people. The question now comes, okay, we've done a training for 5,000 people. What was the impact? Were we able to then say, out of the 5,000 people, X number are now having jobs? Someone had let's say a salary of X, it's now Y. Has that changed? Have they been able to change in their lives? Do they have a new location they're living? They'll say they used to live in Kibera, now they're living in Westlands. That's the kind of measurement that's currently happening. So yes, it's been a good thing, and I believe it's for the betterment of the NGO sector. Yes.
Now, of course, funding has always been a major challenge.
Yes.
Across Africa, funding.
Yes.
But how are NGOs experiencing the funding cuts? For example, major aid agencies like the UN are currently running out of cash because of those funding cuts. Are NGOs feeling that same pinch?
Yeah, it's all around. And you realize governments, for example, I'll give you a practical example. The guys, the people who are in the States, they used to give a lot of funding towards NGOs and Africa and the like. That has changed. Currently, these governments are now focusing on themselves. Development, people are focusing on how to increase their security. So that has changed. Even bodies that were normally, focused regarding funding of development partners, that has also changed. The World Bank, for example, has fine-tuned its criteria of giving out grants. So realize now the pool has become a bit smaller, the funding pool has become smaller, and the criteria has become more strict. So what used to be maybe 10 people getting 10 billion is now maybe maybe five people getting maybe $1 billion. So that change also has affected quite a bit, right? Yes.
And it certainly seems like a positive thing, because like you said, it's increased the emphasis on impact, accountability, also measurable outcomes. I'd like to get a sense on how specifically we're seeing this make NGOs rethink their strategy, especially when it comes to this evolving world. What are some of the key trends we're seeing emerging when it comes to that shift in strategy?
Okay. So the first thing that you realize is right now people are a bit more, they're willing to cooperate, work together. That's a very good thing. People used to work in different silos. Like guys in the health sector would do one thing. You don't even know people in the same county that they're able to do the same thing. So 5, 6, 7 NGOs all focusing on sanitary distribution, which used to be wrong. People are also currently trying to localize localized. What does this mean? HQs which used to be in the UK, in the States, are now coming to Kenya or coming to a place near you or just a normal community. So this decentralization of funding and how things are done is also good for us. This has also encouraged us, NGOs, to also start working with government. There used to be a bit of, we are this part, these guys do their thing, these guys do their thing. But right now, people are more willing to work with government. They're able to, go to government and tell the government, these are the kind of policies we wish to have. How do we get them implemented, right? More strategic partnership maybe with private sector. People, for example, the private sector or organizations which are very focused on a specific niche or sector of CSR. So these NGOs are able to align themselves closer to that, and that has enabled this collaboration to work. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you certainly have a positive outlook for NGOs, but I'd like to get a sense of, with all the buzz around artificial intelligence and that being the future, how are we seeing technology featuring into that? Because apparently it is reshaping how NGOs operate as well. And do you think artificial intelligence is going to replace jobs in that sector?
Good thing and a bad thing. Good thing in this way. Artificial intelligence allows a lot of transparency. So data crunching has become very easy. What used to take us maybe 5 days, 10 days, a year to analyze data for us to determine whether there's famine coming in the next year or 2 years has now shrunk. So we're able to respond a bit faster to disaster. That's one. On the other hand, also access to all this data and easy access to, analyzing it also can be a disadvantage because there's privacy, people, there are a lot of breaches and all that. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. But ideally, the transparency is a good thing because even the donor, the guys who are giving out the funding are able to see what is happening on the ground. So more access to information, faster access to mobilization and resources. Yeah,
certainly exciting times ahead.
Very
Thank you so
exciting,
much
thank
for
you.
joining us in the studio and for those great insights.
Yeah.
That, of course, was Tuva Adams Tuva, the chairman of the Global NGO Stakeholders Summit.